Okay, welcome to WPLDN Daytime. Diane, Paul, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi.
We are there, we're live, we are without a hitch, which always makes a nice change.
There's still time yet.
Yes, it's early doors yet.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just grab some slides. Okay, so welcome all. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are over on Big Orange Heart, live.bigorangeheart.org, welcome. Over there, you will find a live chat. Feel free throughout the event to use that live chat to interact and engage with the community. We're looking forward to welcoming Jan to the stage shortly. He will be delivering a live Q&A session at the end of his talk, so please do, if you have any questions, drop them in the live chat there. If you just want simply to interact, then it's a great place to do that. Thank you all for those of you that were joining us over in the social just now. It's always good to have a bit of time to come together as a community. I just want to quickly say a thank you to Big Orange Heart. These events are made possible thanks to a team of volunteers who collectively make up Big Orange Heart, and two of those are Diane and Paul. So thank you, really appreciate you giving your time to support this. If you've not heard of Big Orange Heart before, I'll go into a bit more detail in a moment, but if you fancy joining the community and you want to know more about what we're doing, then bigorangeheart.org/join is the place to head. Your hosts this afternoon, myself, I'm Dan Mabey. I'm the founder of Big Orange Heart. I also run a digital agency focused around WordPress. Been in and around the doing this community thing for some time now. And I'd just like to introduce you to Diane Wallace. Diane, do you want to say a quick hello?
Hi, hello. Yes, I'm Diane Wallace, and I am a freelance web developer specializing in custom WordPress themes and plugins.
Excellent, thank you. Unfortunately, Leo couldn't be with us this afternoon, but we certainly do have Mr. Paul Smart joining us.
Good afternoon, everybody. Paul here. I run a small agency just outside London, Smart Digital, and also on the Big Orange Heart sponsorship team.
Excellent, thank you very much. And whilst we're at it, I just want to say a very quick thank you to our sponsors who are enabling us to deliver Big Orange Heart, which in turn enables us to deliver these events. So, Passionate about making the web a better place, Automatic. Your managed cloud hosting platform, Cloudways. A turnkey solution for product vendors, agencies and developers, Dolly. Generate more leads for your digital agency, Funnel Packs. The WordPress multilingual plugin, Weglot. Tips, tricks, and resources for people who use WordPress, Winning WP. Your all-in-one WordPress platform, WPMU Dev. And the search engine optimization plugin for WordPress, Yoast. We really appreciate it if you could say a big thank you to all of these companies, to Cloudways, Dolly, Funnel Packs, Weglot, Winning WP, WPMU Dev, and Yoast. You can do that by hitting that link on the screen, big.ht/thanks. That will put together a nice little tweet for you to send out, so you don't even have to do anything other than hit that big.ht/thanks URL. And that would just ping out a tweet to say thank you to all of the companies that are supporting Big Orange Heart and in turn the WordPress London meetups. I also want to say thank you to our companies that have dedicated time to deliver this, Blue 37, Paul Smart and Sotic. I notice how I always end up going into that advertising voice when we have the sponsors come on. I just want to say this afternoon, really looking forward to inviting Jan to come and join us, Jan Koch. He's going to be talking to us about delivering large-scale virtual events and how WordPress has played that part in the role. But before we do that, it's our community announcements. So if you are out there on live.bigorangeheart.org joining us, then please do drop in the live chat anything that you may be aware of that's going on in and around the community, whether that's some virtual events, whether you're hiring at this stage, whether you're looking to be hired, You may know of some training opportunities coming up. There's just an opportunity for us. If you drop it in the live chat, we'll bring it up on screen and share it with the community. Equally, if you're listening out on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, then again, drop them in the comments and we'll try and make sure we get them up on the screen here. So whilst we wait for those to come through, a couple of things going on. WordPress 5.6. We mentioned this in our last event, at our last WPLDN evening event. But definitely, obviously, another worthwhile mention. Obviously, 5.6 is the final major release planned for 2020. Planned features include navigation menu blocks in core, PHP 8 support. You may or may not be aware that we've got a new version of PHP 8 in the pipeline, as well as the public beta for full site editing. But equally exciting, this release is going to be the release squad will feature only individuals that identify themselves as women, as females. So I thought this was a really interesting take. I think it's really nice that actually we've got a community of individuals that are we're able to do this. I think WordPress has been definitely at the forefront in trying to encourage women in tech and trying to enable us to move forward in the right direction. So it's really good to hear that we've got this opportunity coming up on this. So I think there are still opportunities to join the team if you are interested in contributing to 5.6. Paul or Diane, I don't know how we obviously discussed this last time, didn't we? And there's a lot around this, isn't there, around this topic? Absolutely,
yeah. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a really good step forward. I really do. I'm very pleased that they've done it.
Oh, I know I said last time that I think this is really useful because it just says to people that are thinking, do I want to be involved in the WordPress community, that do identify as women, it says to them, you are welcome in this community. So I think that it's really good for that reason. Sorry if I'm distracted. I'm just also in the message hallway track.
Lots of places to be when we deliver these events. Next up is learn.wordpress.org. So reading up on this page, if you've not seen this before, recommend hitting that URL on the site, on the slides there, learn.wordpress.org. It states whether you're the first sorry, I will get my words out. Whether you're a first-time blogger or a seasoned developer, there's always something to learn. And there's a number of sessions on there already, a number of workshops, number of lessons. I noticed Jill Binder has got there's 2 sessions up there already in relation to her diversity speaker training. 2 hours of sessions, which I'll certainly be setting aside the time to consume at some point. I think this is a really interesting move.
Yeah, I love this idea. Especially at the moment with kind of like that we can't have physical workshops. So I don't know if this was specifically timed or if this was just something that was in the pipeline. But as you said, the speakers diversity workshop that I've been a part of previously, and we even did like a mini version at WordPress London. That I think parts 1 and 2 are already online, so you can sort of attend the workshops online. There's also lesson plans available for people that want to give lessons or workshops, which is also amazing. You could set that you could use them for your meetups to set up workshops or lessons. So I think that this is a brilliant resource for when we go back to the physical world, but it's also a fantastic resource to have now while we're all living virtually.
Absolutely. There's some fantastic content in there already. And as you said, there's a lot there that you can utilize in our virtual events, in our meetups. If we've got other meetup organizers listening in, then great opportunity there to use some of that content and utilize it for our events.
Yes, and also you can contribute as well if you're doing workshops or have done workshops. You can contribute those as well to learn WordPress. So kind of it could end up being the go-to resource for learning WordPress, which would be amazing. Like kind of because it's all available to everybody.
That's right, yes. So
Absolutely.
that's learn.wordpress.org. Okay, where is time going? Going far too quickly. I have to rattle through these fairly swiftly. Paul, do you want to mention XCon?
Yeah, XCon. It's an accessibility. I appreciate it's not until March next year, but it's an accessibility conference, which I thought might be interesting. I know, again, it's not specifically WordPress related, but they've got a few interesting speakers lined up already. And it's aimed at developers, designers, business users, and any accessibility professionals. So I think it'd be something that'd be very interesting for March next year to attend.
Absolutely. It's a focus around digital accessibility, isn't it? So
yeah,
a really interesting space, and obviously highly important.
Absolutely. And it's something we're all commonly talking about, isn't it? Improving accessibility. So it looks as though it could be a good 2-day experience.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, moving on. I just want to tease this date, 1st of December. We've got something in the pipeline which we will be delivering on the 1st of December. Something around the celebration of WordPress. There will be a lot more information coming out very, very shortly. So please, just maybe in your diary, stick in 1st of December. We're really excited to be able to be delivering what we will be delivering. Okay, for most of you may be aware that WPN Up has pivoted to Big Orange Heart. As I mentioned at the start, Big Orange Heart is a registered charity with a mission to support and promote positive well-being and mental health within the remote working communities. We have been delivering we've delivered a well-being and mental health survey into the remote working community. Throughout August, we based on feedback we received, we took the decision to extend the deadline by 2 weeks to allow for those that are that had taken some time out over the summer holiday period. So the wellbeing survey will close on the 14th of September. So that's 4 days' time. If you could donate 3 minutes of your time to complete this survey, we have actually, based off the data that we received from the results of last year's survey, delivered additional suicide prevention and suicide awareness training into the team. And that training is used on a regular basis. You are literally saving lives by submitting this data. Today is actually World Suicide Prevention Day as well. So if you could, we would really appreciate you sharing this survey and sharing this link. If you hit big.ht/2020 tweet, again, it will create a tweet for you, which will have the link for the survey already done. So there isn't too much that you need to do. Okay, I am going to now invite our guest, Jan. Let's just remove those slides and bring Jan. Jan, welcome.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Hi, Jan.
Very excited to have you join us, Jan. So Jan is the host of WP Agency Summit and the Ecom Summit, Ecom Services Summit, sorry. Really looking forward to your talk this afternoon. It's such an important topic at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Virtual events. So you're going to be giving a talk bringing together 10,000 plus registrants using virtual summits. I think we're going to be getting a little bit around how WordPress has been a tool within that.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have a look at my live stack. So I'll be showing the back end of my live summit website and walk you through it. But we do have a little bit of slides before that, because it's not as easy as slapping a few plugins into WordPress and then hosting your event. You need to know where you want to go with that event. So we'll cover that first. I promise to do it very briefly and then go into the meat and dive into WordPress.
Excellent. Well, looking forward to this. It's obviously, as I said, relevant on so many levels at this time.
Yes.
The delivery of virtual events. So I'm going to bring your slides up, and we are all going to drop off. And yeah, we're going to hand the stage over to you.
Oh, you're trusting me?
That's okay, Jan. We still have the power here to do unspeakable things to you. So
love it. Let's do it.
If you are out there on live.bigorangeheart.org and listening, if you're out on the social, then please do. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat, drop them in the social comments, then we will ensure that we get those asked at the end of Jan's session. So for now, Jan, thank you very much. It's over to you.
Sounds good. Thanks. So, as Dan said, the topic is bringing together 10,000 plus registrants using virtual summits. That number comes from the summits I've been hosting since 2015. So it's not just one summit. A little bit of background on myself. I've been a WordPress developer since 2012, and since 2013, I am self-employed. My first virtual summit was hosted in 2015. And that was already on WordPress, the WordPress Summit, it was called back then, or the WP Summit, due to the licensing issue with the name. It combined, my events had 10,000 plus attendees, 125,000 plus page views, and reached over 110 countries. So that goes to show how big of an impact you can have if you set up these virtual events properly. And one thing that's very important to me is, just as I've experienced today, and we'll maybe dive into this later on in the Q&A, I couldn't have done it without the support of the WordPress community. So it is a lot of work to host these events, and without people jumping to your side and either paying for your time or taking work off your shoulders, it's very hard to do these events on your own. So we'll dive into all of this. And I have 4 sections for you today. By the way, if I'm going too quickly, please always interrupt me. So I'll see the notices in the chat here in StreamYard, and I'm sure that Dan and the team will make sure to interrupt me when I'm too quickly. What you'll learn, as I said earlier, it's important to have a strategy for your event. You cannot jump into the water with both feet ahead. So we'll talk about strategy, we'll talk about monetizing the events, because after all, we are running a business with these events. We'll briefly talk executing the event. That alone is like a full day of presentations, but we'll briefly cover it. And then lastly, I'm going to show you my tech stack based on WordPress that I'm using for the WP Agency Summit that's coming up in October. Alrighty, so the strategy. The first part I want to hone in is that you should at least set aside 3 months for your virtual event. And I've seen numbers floating around the internet that you can do a summit in 3 days. That's the shortest that I've seen, but it's really, it is insane. Just if you imagine bringing together a very small summit with like 8 speakers only, and you have to organize 8 interviews or 8 presentations, that alone will take longer than 3 days. So usually 3 months is a very good time from having the idea of the summit to having enough time getting all the contents ready, doing the promotion properly, building the platform properly, building up some steam in the pre-launch, and then executing an event that even gets a little bit of traction and that just not goes anywhere, goes unnoticed. One thing that I learned the hard way is that you have to decide on hiring VAs or staff, or you have to do it on your own. And the first summit I did, or the first 2 summits actually, I did them on my own, and I worked myself to the ground with this, really, because you have to do graphic design for ads for the website. You have to conduct all the interviews. You have to arrange the interviews. You have to schedule the interviews with the speakers. You have to go back and forth on topics. You have to build the website. You have to manage the hosting. So that's, I've used hosting as a broad term, but that's the tech stack essentially, with CDN and load balancing and all that other stuff that you might need. You'll want to add live streams during the event. You need to do the sales, obviously, whether that is sales for selling lifetime access to your events, or whether that is a sale of a sponsorship package, or whether that's a sell even on the speaker to join the event, because that's obviously also a point. If you want to get these high-level speakers, these big names that are busy running their own businesses, you have to sell them on being a speaker on your event. And funnel building also goes into it, as we'll see later when we're going through the website. So this alone goes to show that it's a lot of work, and I have now hired at least one general VA and a design team to help me with the upcoming summit, and it makes my life so much easier. So when you have staff, it's good. Use it, employ it, and if you are doing it on your own, be prepared for some late nights or maybe all-nighters even, because it's going to get overwhelming. The next step in your strategy is to actually start with the research phase. So you want to know who your competition is in the market. What are some other summits in the space? Summits are popping up everywhere these days, so you will find a lot of examples. And what you'll want to make sure is that you analyze those summits for the topics they cover. You want to know what type of speakers they have. Are those speakers all prominent A-listers? I've seen this summit with the astronaut Scott Kelly talking about GraphQL in space. I have no idea how that relates, how an astronaut needs to talk about GraphQL, but I think that's happening today even. I've also seen a summit from Globant, I think, with Steve Wozniak on the panel. So analyze other events in your market, analyze them for topics, for speakers, for their marketing, for their email communication, sign up for them, and go through the flow of how they educate them, how they educate you about their event, and just see what you can learn from them, what they're doing right, and also be on the lookout for opportunities to differentiate yourself from the other events. That's really, really important, because you're not going to be another one of those. You want to have your summit stand out even against those really big names that you can't compete with on a monetary level, probably. The next step is to build your customer avatars. So that is, who is the summit for? Who do you want to reach and who do you want to educate on the market? For the WP Agency Summit, I was quite selfish because I used myself as the avatar. I brought people onto the summit that I wanted to learn from myself on hosting, on running an agency, scaling a WordPress-based agency. So there was my avatar. I was my own guinea pig, if you will. And that is what I think contributed to the success and the positive feedback on the summit, because you need to really understand what types of topics you need to cover on your summit, what types of speakers you need who can talk about those topics from real-world experience. And you cannot do that without knowing who your customer is. The same goes for researching products in your market, because that also tells you what types of pain points people are paying money for to have them solved. And defining your hook means that you need to know what people should remember about your event. Like when you go to a WordCamp, you always have a story that you can tell about, oh, I was at WordCamp Berlin and I met with Vito Pelek from WP Feedback, for example. Or I met with Akshat from Blockvault, and we formed this really interesting bond. I talked to Oliver Sill from WebArcs. These are just a few stories that I can tell from the past WordCamp Europe last year. So this is what your hook is. Your hook is the main tagline of the summit that frames all the conversations. So with the WP Agency Summit, my tagline this year is bring the fun back into scaling your agency. So it will be, everything will be related about enjoying the process. And we'll have fun conversations about that, hopefully. So this is what your hook is. And there goes a lot more into this research phase. But given that I have 25 minutes to go through this, bombard me with questions afterwards, and I will make sure to answer them. And shoot me an email if you will, or use the chat on the page. Thanks for adding that banner. That is the best way probably to get your questions answered right now. As I said, define your virtual summit hook and the marketing outline. What will attendees remember? What will they learn? How do you want to structure the event in order to get the knowledge across? Will you have live sessions? Will you have pre-recorded sessions? Will it be all live? Will it be all pre-recorded? Do you want to mix the two? how will attendees interact with each other? Do you have live chat? Do you have live video calls, for example? It's really flexible. So the structure of the event can be really flexible. And I wouldn't say there is the one right approach to structure an event. I think that we are still so early in the summit space, in summit times, that there is no real mistake that you can make if you keep in mind that the content needs easily to be consumed and that you want to foster engagement with the attendees and make sure attendees can connect with each other. I think these are the two most important things. And if you keep those two in mind, then you can structure your event in any way or form that you like. And also, what goes into the strategy is to build a list of A, B, and C list speakers. So what do I mean by that? I mean that if you just have the high-level speakers, if I have like Joost de Valk from Joost only, and if I have like the founder of Cloudways, for example, or if I have all the CEOs of the big companies, guess what? They're not going to share the summit. I mean, if I get the founder from WP Engine, for example, will WP Engine email their list about the virtual summit because their founder is speaking there? Of course they won't. The reason is Jason Cohen is speaking there everywhere. He's speaking on so many podcasts, on so many interviews, that it's not worth for them to email their list about that. So what you need is the big names that really get attention, that get people excited about attending your event. But then you also need some smaller speakers, if you will, not to discredit lesser known people or lesser known entrepreneurs, but you need entrepreneurs and speakers that will share your event, because that's where the main traffic will come from. And by just going for the big names, the big CEOs, you will have issues getting organic traffic going to the page, because you won't have people emailing so much about your event. And also this list obviously needs to reflect what types of topics you have set out in the strategy beforehand, so that you make sure that all the topics get covered. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm briefly scratching the surface with this presentation. So again, the encouragement to ask your questions in the chat afterwards. Let's dive into monetization very briefly. And there are 3 ways you can monetize your event. The first one is something that my friends at WP Buffs are doing. I think at the end of September, they have the WP MRR Virtual Summit, so the WordPress Monthly Recurring Revenue Summit. And they keep it free forever, from what I know, with the goal to build their list to get a good reputation with that by sharing all the content for free, and then by acquiring agency partners for their white label program. So the idea with not selling anything on your summit can actually work really, really nicely. And what you have is you have a list builder on steroids that you can promote the heck of, because it's free event and it's value packed if you have some good names and some good speakers and you do the summit properly. And that way you can grow your list quite quickly. The first summit tripled my list size. The first summit I've done in 2015 tripled my list size, and the one I did in 2019 doubled it again, just to put this in perspective. So it's really, really nice to build your list and to get a good reputation with your summit if you can keep it for free and then have something to sell on the back of it when people got the value and you led with value in the conversation, and then you can sell them afterwards if it's a good fit. The second strategy of monetization is something that I'm doing myself, and that is I sell lifetime access passes after the event has ended. So while the event is free for while it's live, I'm taking down the interviews afterwards, I'm locking them in a membership area, and then you have to pay for them to get access to it. So this is similar to what you would see with a trial and a membership, if you will, where you can maybe get these famous $1 for 7 days trials. You get to experience all the content, and then you have to upgrade to the full price of the membership. This is somewhat similar. So you can see all the sessions for free if you like. And obviously some people will download the sessions or will download the transcripts or what have you. And they will try to steal the content while it's free and copy it for themselves. But the most attendees, the vast majority will actually not do that. So it's a good way to monetize the summit and to get paid for the time that you spent in the 3 months or 4 months leading up to the event. So yeah, selling lifetime access passes is a really nice way to make that money. And also what it's nice, or what I try to do, is I try to keep them very affordable. So it's not like another $2,000 course that is launching. I sell them usually below $100 because the premise really is to spread the information as wide as possible and to make it as accessible as possible. So if somebody liked this session so much that they want to keep access, then it's not a bank-breaking expense for them. And the third strategy to monetize the summit is also something I'm doing, which is corporate sponsorship. And just today I got a sponsorship from Yoast. So big thank you to Yoast. I see them sponsoring this, the Big Orange Heart as well. Weglot is a sponsor for the event. So again, thank you for Weglot. WebArc Security signed up today, and ThemeCo signed up today for a sponsorship. So that alone helps me tremendously cover the costs in the 3 months leading up to the event, where I'm basically not doing anything else. So it's also something you can take into account. And if you shoot me a DM later on Twitter or in the chat, then I will make sure to show you the call for sponsors page and walk you through the strategy on selling the sponsorship packages. But unfortunately, we don't have time to dive into that today. Now, executing your summit. I promise I get through this quickly to go into the WordPress stack. So let's just briefly cover what it takes to actually run the summit. You obviously need to create the contents, and that is where you will spend the most time. So you will spend the most time orchestrating the bookings for the speakers, recording the sessions, editing the sessions, collecting presentations. So some speakers will want to do an interview with you. Some speakers will prefer to send you a pre-recorded presentation that you can then use online. You'll have to do the live calls and the live webinars during the summit. This is where the majority of your time gets spent. You'll obviously have to build the website, which we will see in a minute. And I've just listed a few pages that you can expect to build. So that's the landing page, obviously, for the registration. You want to have an upsell page. If you are not going to keep it free forever, you need an upsell page. You need the content pages where the sessions live. You'll want to have speaker pages potentially with a bio and the profile of each speaker. Virtual sponsorship booths is what we'll look into after this presentation, and networking lounges for attendees to interact with each other. So this is also very time consuming, and that's something that I would highly suggest you delegate to a VA or to your team if you have it, so that you don't have to worry about all the technical stuff of building the website actually, and you just need to put in the contents. Again, something that you might potentially be able to outsource, which is managing affiliates and sponsors. So obviously, with any other launch, you'll need swipe copy. You'll need to build the sponsorship booths. If you sell sponsorship packages, you need to provide the promotional graphics. You need to provide them with a schedule of how the launch is structured, when the card opens, when the first sessions go live, when you want to have your live events during the summit, like live kickoff webinars or a live end webinar on the last day of the summit. This is also something that you'll want to be very mindful of, because these things need to be prepared ahead of time, way before the summit actually starts and way before the pre-launch even starts. Because when you think about it, say, for example, as Yoast has now become a sponsor for the next WP Agency Summit, they need time to prepare the sponsorship messages in their own content schedule. So they need a few weeks ahead to actually make a spot in their email marketing schedule to talk about the WP Agency Summit and talk about Marike being a speaker on the summit. So that is something that you want to keep in mind when taking on affiliates and sponsors. And it just, again, goes to show that 3 months is, I would say, the bare minimum to set up a proper virtual summit. And now finally, let's dive into the tech stack. And we have like 5 minutes before Q&A starts. So let's see. Let me know if you can see the screen. I'm on a 4K, so it might be a bit small for you, but I'm joining in. I'm zooming in. Let me know if everything is cool. I'm looking at the live chat in the hallway track right now, so let me know if you can read all the contents. I think we should be good. This is the main landing page that I have on the WP Agency Summit, and it is a long form landing page. Thanks for confirming, Dan. So in this landing page, you need to essentially position yourself in the shoes of somebody who has never heard about a virtual summit, explain to them what it is, what they get from the event, and how they sign up to the event. And what is interesting with this one is this is a static version, and then I have coded a little JavaScript snippet for the subscription process that triggers an AJAX call on a WordPress site, which then integrates with ActiveCampaign. So this sustains the traffic load quite nicely. And it's something that you want to keep in mind, because from the WP Feedback Summit that I ran with the WP Feedback team in April, our sites crashed and we were overwhelmed with the traffic, and this static approach will help avoid this. The WordPress backend, let me zoom in again. Please ignore the notices about Astra Pro not being activated. I did not renew my license yet, just ran out like 2 days ago. I'm using Astra Pro and Elementor to build all the landing pages and essentially every page. So let's briefly look at the page structure. As you said, you need a registration page. You need a call for sponsors page, which again, I'm happy to shoot you the links after the talk. I'm just highlighting all the pages that I consider essential for running the summit. You need a membership area. I'm using Memberium for ActiveCampaign, and I'll walk you through that in a minute. You need an upsell page, and you need a page where all the sessions go live. So this is, I would consider it the minimum viable structure, if you will. And again, we're not diving into the layouts here, but I'm happy to share them. Memberium, as I said, is for setting up the membership area when somebody buys the lifetime access. And the way it works is that I'm selling via Thrivecart. Thrivecart then adds a tag to the customers in my ActiveCampaign account. And with Memberium, I am able to connect to ActiveCampaign, and all the users that get the tag WP Agency Summit 2019, which is the internal ID 6, what is that standing for? They automatically get their user account created through Memberium. Memberium then sends the login information back to ActiveCampaign, and with ActiveCampaign, I can then send the login information to the customer. So that is, for the customer, it's a very smooth process because they sign up, they buy, and then within a few minutes, they receive their login information and can access the contents. There is no magic virtual summit plugin, in case you were wondering. It's essentially a glorified membership area if you want to look at it that way. I have built custom sessions integration, so that's a custom post type, which you will not see anything related here because I'm still building the new WP Agency Summit. Essentially, what I'm doing with these sessions is they get a start date and they get a start time. And then I have a short code that loads the right session at the right time on the front end, according to the schedule that I've published earlier. The sponsors are also a custom post type. So the sponsors essentially get their own virtual booth, which is a page on the summit. And actually, let me pull one up from the Ecom Services Summit. That's the Weglot booth. And this site is super slow because it's not promoted properly. So ignore the loading time, please. And for the virtual booth, what I do with my sponsors is they get this main section right here where there is a spinning wheel that's supposed to load for the sponsors to create leads. There's a contact form. There we go. There's the spinning wheel. So sponsors can define what the slides they want to have on the spinning wheel. They're also able to add a video or a live standing video call. If they're manning the booth, they get access to edit their pages during the summit, and then they can trigger these features on and off as they like. And then on the last section of the virtual booth, we have a contact form, social links, and another call to action. Those are the main features on the sponsorship booth. And as we are running out of time, I briefly want to look at the static approach that I'm taking, and that is, as you can see, I've switched to localhost right now. There's a plugin that I use. It's called Static HTML Output by Leon Stafford, which is a super nice guy. He's super helpful. So if you have any problems with this plugin, I just recommend reaching out to Leon directly. And then with static HTML, I am connecting to Bunny CDN, to a storage zone on Bunny CDN that is tied to this registration URL. And then I can simply click the static site export, and all the plugins, all the themes, all the layouts that I've built are converted into a static layout and then uploaded to Bunny CDN. So there is a lot more that we could talk about. We could talk about this for another 2 hours, but I think we'll cut it off here because it's probably overwhelming already. And I'm looking forward if there are any questions.
Yeah, and thank you so much. I agree that there is probably so much here we could be going into, so much we could be covering.
Yeah. I try to highlight the most important points.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for giving us a glimpse into your world and into what you're doing. I appreciate you've delivered a number of large-scale events through this format. Again, so many things within this that we could dive into. I think one element that certainly stuck in my mind when you were talking there was the use of avatars in terms of understanding, who you're delivering this for, and why that whole process of why. I think it's maybe. Would you mind maybe just diving into that a little bit, and what that process looks like in terms of working out what the avatars?
Yeah, of course. Of course. So essentially, it is like any other branding exercise where you talk about custom avatars too. It's you want to hone in on the demographics. That's like the most basic stuff. What I find really important and really helpful is to think about the following things. What's keeping the people I want to reach awake at night? Like, what thoughts do they have? What worries do they have? Why are they not getting to sleep? What issues are keeping them awake? How would they like to see themselves in the future? Like, what is the lifestyle? What is the type of business they are aspiring to build, and how do they want to see themselves? Do they want to stay a freelancer, which is totally fine? Do they want to be a CEO of a 200-person company? Like, what type of desires and dreams do they have? And from that, I try to drill down a little bit deeper. Like, what are the actual pain points given they want to hire more people? The hiring process would be a point. Managing staff would be a point. Firing staff would be something to talk about. Keeping their staff productive would be something to talk about. And you see that you can pull this up into so many varying directions and into so many aspects just with building WordPress-based business that you will pretty quickly get a list of like 40 to 50 topics that you can then reach out to speakers to and base your speaker research on even. So say you want to have 20 speakers on your event, I will probably list 60 to 80 potential speakers because you'll hear more no's than yeses. And based on the topics from your avatar research, you can then know who even to reach out to be a speaker on your event.
Brilliant, thank you. In terms of the tech stack around this, we have a great appreciation of what goes into the design and the development, and creating that smooth user flow, that flow for the users. it's certainly a challenge, isn't it? There's certainly, I love your comment about the plugin for the summit.
I wish there was, but I think it's actually too complicated to build. So I think the individual parts of a summit are what makes it so complicated. It's nothing like groundbreaking, nothing extraordinary to build these events, but you have to have so many parts that have to play together nicely. So you need a registration process that has a very clear communication flow, because people need to understand where they have to go to on your website at what time and point and what day and what to expect there. You then need a good way to present the content. So whether that is like embedded videos on YouTube or Vimeo, whether that's self-hosted, whether that's a live stream, all depends on your choices. You need an exceptional UX on the website itself so that people don't get lost, which happened to me more than once. I'll be the first to admit it. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to build these
on
websites.
your own site or on other people's.
No, I'm on my own summit. On my own summits. I've had so many people emailing me like, where do I get the sessions? What do I need to click to see the contents? Mm-hmm. And you think you make it as clear as you can, but it's probably not. So that's why I always have Pecha having a look over my websites.
Absolutely. I think there's definitely a big challenge, isn't there? I know I've certainly had a lot of challenges in relation to events where you've had multiple Zoom calls, for example, as part of the event. And how do you, where are you meant to be? Which Zoom call are you meant to be in? And who are you going to be? Who are you, wandering into? Because it's obviously it's blind as you walk into that Zoom call. There's certainly a lot of challenges at this time, isn't there, in terms of the delivery of these style of events. But Jan, I appreciate you're a busy man. I know you've got another interview that you've got.
Yeah, right now, but I can make like 2-3 more minutes.
Yes. Well,
I've already emailed Chris.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Do you want to just let us know how we can get in contact with you? What's the best places to catch up with you?
Absolutely. So the best place is my Facebook group. That's WP Mastery, and you can also find me on Twitter at I am Jan Koch.
Excellent. Well, yeah. Really grateful for you giving your time this afternoon, and as we said, it's such an important topic at this stage, this time. So thank you for all you're doing, and thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us.
Thanks for having me. And as I said, if anybody of the attendees has further questions, just ask, reach out to me, and I'm happy to share and to provide my thoughts.
Excellent. Well, we really appreciate that. So thank you so much, and
thanks,
we look forward to speaking soon, Jan.
Yes,
thanks, Jan. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
See you.
Thank you.
Okay. I mean, it is such a big topic, isn't it? There's so much there to be covered.
And it's not it's not an easy thing to get the feeling of a conference. I know, kind of we all had to find out, just doing this, kind of like our first attempts were, just going into Zoom and, as Jan says, there's so many moving parts to a conference, and every conference as well is different. So every virtual event is different as well, and it has different needs, which is why, why there isn't this kind of magic summit plugin. Yet.
Now, and I've got so there's 3 screens in front of me. Of those 3 screens, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different services, apps, bits and pieces that I'm looking at, monitoring and checking, because there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to the delivery of these events. So trying to find a single solution that fits all. I'm just not sure it's I'm not sure we'd find that. I mean, I think it's similar to the kind of CRM issue. There is never really the perfect CRM, so we end up building our own CRM, and then there's another one on the market, because we're all we have these unique ways of delivering our events and delivering our services. Cool. Okay. Right. Well, we're just going to wrap up now. This is, as I say, it's a shortened mini version of our regular WPLDN evening events. I just want to quickly say a big thank you to our sponsors. Again, Automatic, Cloudways, Dolly, Funnel Packs, Weglot, Winning WP, WPMU Dev, and Yoast. If you haven't already, we would really appreciate if you could hit that big.ht/thanks to send out a tweet to thank all of our sponsors. we're continually looking for feedback. We've adjusted our feedback form for these virtual events. So if you could hit wpldn.uk/feedback, we're looking to constantly adapt and evolve these events for you, the community. Speaking of which, we've got our next event, our next evening, full WPLDN on the 24th of September. Now, seriously, the end of September already.
I know. They're coming around so fast now, aren't they? It's like time speeding up. Someone said the other day, April was like 6 years long. What happened to August? It came and went, and it feels like September's doing the same.
It certainly does.
Christmas before we know it.
No, don't say that. So we've got Michael Burridge is going to be joining us. Going to be talking to us about React and headless WordPress. So really looking forward to that. A very, very hot topic. Our next WPLDN daytime. So another mini version of our full WPLDN. Believe it or not, this will mark 6 months of us delivering these events.
And we've all stayed relatively sane.
Yes. On
the outside.
It's what's on the outside that counts, don't you know, Paul?
So we've got from 1 p.m. BST. Will we be BST? We will not be BST, will we? Time zone time?
No. Yes, we'll be
GMT.
Yes. I can't even remember. Yeah, Greenwich Mean Time. Yes, we will. Yes.
Anyway,
we'll still be in the UK, although the way 2020 is going, earthquakes. We could be sailing across the.
Well, we're going to have, whenever it is and wherever it is, on the 8th of October, we're going to have Leonardo. Please forgive me, I'm going to ruin your surname. Lostoviz is going to be joining us, talking about GraphQL. So again, another very hot topic. Again, we're looking forward to hearing that. Just before we wrap up, as I've mentioned a couple of times already, please do hit big.ht/2020. You've only got 4 days left before we close this wellbeing survey for the remote working community. If you've already completed it, we would really appreciate if you could share it, particularly as today is World Suicide Prevention Day. big.ht/2020 tweet. We're now going to head over to the social. If you are in the live.bigorangeheart.org, hit the social link at the top of the page. That's it from us. Diane, Paul, I want to say a big, big thank you to both of you for giving your time this afternoon. And
thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dan.
Always a pleasure to spend some time with you and talk a bit of WordPress.
Hey, absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, well, whilst we pull up should we have a little bit of outro music? Yeah,
oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
Take care all from us. That's it. Goodbye.